The interior of the frigate was a far cry from everything around them thus far. From the mildly mauve-colored metals of the factory structures to the strangely calming wood and metal-themed interior of the large starship. Now this, one massive culture shock after the other. Gold and silver lining the hallways, high-quality leather seats, plasteel tiling, and high-grade laminated wood floors, windows that allowed them to see basically anything outside. The ship itself was relatively small, considering its parent craft, but this thing was so beautifully spacious, it was able to hold a crew of over 200 souls in comfort. As they entered, they noticed the bar, fully stocked with any drink imaginable, a kitchen with a robotic tender and a small armory, stocked to the gills with some seriously vicious-looking weaponry. Thorn smiled happily as he saw the arboretum, a small but beautiful sanctuary of greenery in a circular room surrounding a carefully tended bonsai tree. Both men noted the pantry and crew quarters, with the majority of facilities being worthy of royalty. Taurus noted the diplomatic quarters and had a bout of royal snobbishness when he noted they were of higher quality than his own royal chambers. Marcus headed towards the cockpit and plugged himself into the ship. "Okay then, find yourself a seat. Your Majesty, you're in the cockpit with me. I need a navigator. Thorn, are you going back to your village or going with the king?" "I shall return to my village. We have many preparations to consider," he responded. "Then to the village it is. After that, we pay the canyon elves a visit. Oh, and just in case, I have loaded the cargo hold with small 300-gram ingots, about 200 kilos worth. That should be enough in case we need to, What's an eloquent way to state this? Bribe people," Marcus said, and the ship shuddered as its engines jolted to life. 200 kilos! Ah! Thorn said in despair. "Dude, relax," Marcus said. "Why do you not need gold?" Thorn asked. "Hexalon, carbolite, and titanium. We don't need gold or silver because we have hexalon, which is a superconductor of unrivaled quality. We have carbolite, which is an alloy of titanium, chrome, and steel, which is used for everything from ship hulls to toasters. We don't need gold or silver because we have better," Marcus explained calmly before the ship left the platform. "Oh, okay. Well, that answered my question, didn't it? You really think I'm dumb enough to give a medieval society, even one that uses magic, enough gold and silver supply to shatter their economy 100 times over?" "Police," Marcus replied with a chuckle. The ship went silent for a few minutes as Marcus made the ship ready for atmospheric travel and modified the engines to handle the slightly lesser gravity of the planet. "So what do you plan to do then?" Taurus asked. "Give you enough gold and silver to cover your debts and clear your consciences. Then provide you with enough gold and silver to give every citizen a small stipend to do what they wish, jump-starting your economy. After that, well, that's your problem. Technically, all the gold and silver I've mined thus far is yours anyway. We just have to be careful what we do with it," Marcus said as the ship slowly exited the hangar bay. "Wait, what? What do you mean it's ours anyway?" Taurus said with surprise. "You are the owners of this planet. The law states that all resources belong to any local sapients if acquired by any pilot or crew. You are the local sapients, which means that minus the resources I have already used, everything else belongs to you, because this is your planet, therefore your resources," Marcus said. "Well, shit," Thorn replied as he strapped himself in his seat. It's just I have so much I would do more harm than good. It's better to just do it slowly and steady. Give you incentive, you know? So once you point me where I need to go, I will go there. Use the travel time to figure out what to do with all your newly acquired wealth," Marcus said with a smirk. Thorn and Taurus went silent for a few minutes as the ship's engines spooled up and the ship started to move. Taurus started talking to himself as they moved along, mumbling things to himself and scratching his chin. When they arrived at the capital city, Marcus landed on the outskirts of the city walls. Guards immediately went to their stations and surrounded the landing platform. The king and his paladin headed to the exit, still in deep thought. A set of stairs appeared out of the side of the ship underneath the airlock, and the party made their way out onto the ground. The king had a stern, thoughtful expression the entire time, his left hand idly rubbing his chin. Wordlessly, he waved his hands, ordering his men to calm down and return to their stations, and still in silence, headed to the palace. The streets were eerily calm, peasantry and nobility quietly bowing in respect as he passed, receiving a silent nod in return. Taurus walked up the stairs to the palace, and just before entering he stopped. He spun around and looked at his kingdom, his subjects confused and curious as the massive fancy ship loomed over the city walls in the background. He could clearly see Marcus staring at him through the glass of the cockpit. He lifted his hands and waved them around in a specific pattern. A swirl of magical energy surrounded him for a few seconds, and then stayed still. He took a deep, long breath and began to speak, the spell he just cast making his voice boom over his entire kingdom. "People of the Barkwoods, I am your king, Taurus Vicaris V. Hear me now, for I shall not repeat myself," he bellowed, his voice carrying on the magical energy of the air. "As a few of you already know, and are likely already gossiping about, humanity has returned, and have revealed many things to us. That, however, is something to be discussed at a later date. For now, we have more pressing and frankly more interesting concerns," he said. The assembled crowd and many peasants over hundreds of miles quietly chatted to each other. First of all, the human that is currently in our world has, well, let's just say he's done a bit of work, and, in accordance with his own rules, is supplying us with some much-needed funds to help cement relations with us and the rest of mankind. An offer I have gleefully accepted. As a consequence, I would like to give everyone some very good news. Starting as of next week, Meritus, all taxation for lords, ladies, and the common man, from the lowest to the highest, is suspended until further notice, he said. The resulting cheer from all the citizens could be heard for hundreds of miles beyond the borders of the kingdom. Families that desperately and carefully managed their household coin purses breathed a collective sigh of relief and joy. Yes, that's good. Calm now. I have yet to begin," the king said, allowing the jubilant roar to mellow. "This is not just for the sake of new resources. No. We may have an abundance and a bright, beautiful future ahead of us, but this is no reason to rest on our laurels. A new revolution is coming. One that, if not openly embraced and acted upon, will mean our extinction, either in the next few decades or even in the next 1,000 years. Soft murmurs and a quiet lull of rumor began to spread. However, I am told, by a reliable source, we do have an upper hand in the coming centuries. Humanity, though they outnumber, outclass, and outgun us 1,000,000 to 1, still do not have as much a grasp on the arcane arts as we do. In fact, they have almost forgotten the art. I know many people would disagree with me, but I say we have a duty to teach it to them again. I have seen what they do with simple technology, simple science, same as the mountain elves. I salivate at the thought of what they can accomplish with magic at their side." A murmur of dissent followed. "I hear those mutterings. I believe I am making the correct choice in this matter. Any who refuse that mandate, I shall have your head." The mutterings stopped, followed by a shocked, terrified silence. The king had never done this before. Threats and possibility of executions, these things were unheard of for hundreds of years. A few in the crowd carefully considered the king's words, then looked at the giant ship outside the castle gates, having a quiet moment of introspection. However, these are things for another time. That aspect is far in our future. For now, I have news. Food supply issues are resolved. Our debts to the other kingdoms will soon be fully paid as well. The coming tax break will help alleviate everyone's nerves. I shall, however, put the following into place. Effective, immediately, all families shall be encouraged to expand as much as they like. In fact, I'd like to mandate that you start expanding these families as much as you can tolerate, the king said, getting a sneaky whistle and slight murmur from the crowd. I will be making some deals with our new human allies to keep us supplied with the food and resources we need to maintain this expansion. But I dare say it shall be a moot point, as by the time we get to where we need to care, we will be more than self-sufficient and will have paid our debt to them tenfold, in more ways than they can imagine, I bet, the king said. This statement made Marcus visibly raise an eyebrow as he sat in the cockpit. I shall be making a new mandate that each newly minted family shall receive a stipend of 25 silver per child per year until the child is 5 years old. Furthermore, with our new need to expand, I have come to an easy decision. All citizens of our great Barkwood kingdom shall receive a small gift of 50 silver coins per person. Each soldier, warrior, and guild adventurer shall get 1 gold coin. Nobility will have their share in due time with some well-placed investments," he said. The crowd jubilantly erupted yet again. The king stopped them quickly, raising his voice to calm the din. "This is not for you to spend as you want, however. This is an investment. Use this money to improve your life. Experiment with magic. Get better farming equipment. Fix the roof of your house. Do things that are actually important. Things that help better your situation. Do not squander this. I shall be making our guardsmen wary and minting a special coin to ensure this gift is not wasted on ale or—" He spat at the ground. "Tasuk." The crowd roared in approval at this statement, likewise spitting at the ground at the mention of a hard drug made from a rare weed. "It shall take some time to gather everything needed to put this plan into action, so exercise care for the next few days. Now, my people, go forth, prosper, multiply, together, to the future," the king yelled, casting a spell as he did. The crowd yelled and began to cheer in celebration as blasts of magic rocketed into the sky, sending a mass broadcast to all the leadership on the planet. The king smiled, nodded, and gave Marcus a sly wink as he entered his palace. "Cheeky bastard. Well, guess I'm in it now," Marcus said to himself as he settled in for a wait. "Arcturus, check the security feed. What are the 2 ladies up to?" Marcus said, talking to his computer AI. "They are engaged with the washroom commander. The one named Saris is washing up, and the one called Jacqueline is reading a book after a dip in the tub."